Hi Scouts, welcome to your video showing you how to put together a basic fire starting kit. At Scouts we will always be creating lots of fires to do things like cooking or signalling or just keeping warm basically, so we'll be using these kits a lot. Now just like the first aid kit, this kit's designed so you don't need to go out and buy lots and lots of different things. Okay, you should be able to build this kit with pretty much what you can find in your house already. You might have to go and get a couple of little bits, but you should be able to find most of the parts inside your home already. There are four main bits towards a fire kit that you'll need. The first one is some sort of container. So the container needs to be waterproof to keep everything nice and dry, especially your tinder, and it should also be small enough that you can fit it in your pocket or at the top of your bag. Okay, so we don't want gigantic boxes, we just want some small sort of waterproof bag. Even a plastic sandwich bag is absolutely fine. So just a small bag to keep everything on. I use this small leather pouch here that can, with a drawstring to wrap it all up. You can use a plastic box, anything you like, just to keep all the little various bits in. Okay, so that's job number one. So you've got your containers first of all. The second thing you need is some sort of tinder. Now tinder is a material that will catch fire easily. It will take a spark from a match or a fire lighting stick or a lighter, anything, and it will burn quite easily. Now there's lots of materials you can use. I tend to use cotton wool, but you can use things like the lint from your tumble dryer, you can use old fluffy rags, you can use pretty much anything, shavings of wood. There's lots of different things you can use. If you are using something like cotton wool, when you use it, make sure you tease it apart so you get all these fibers spreading out. Okay, you want it nice and fluffy when you use it so that these various fibers here, these fluffy parts, can catch the spark and they'll burn nice and easily. So another good one is something like a tea light. It's very easy to light a tea light and it'll burn for quite a while whilst you get your fire going. So you can use something like cotton wool, lint from the tumble dryer, tea lights, paper, lots of different things. Just be careful with something like paper because paper burns very, very quickly, and although we want this stuff to burn easily, we do need it to last for a little bit of time. And that's where the third element comes in, which is some sort of accelerant, something to help it along. You can use anything that's highly flammable essentially. So I tend to use Vaseline. You can buy it in these small tubs which are already waterproof, which makes it really handy. You can open them up, you can add a small amount of this Vaseline to your cotton wool or to your tumble dry lint or to whatever other material you're using for tinder, and Vaseline burns really well. Okay, and it lasts quite a while as well, so it will help it catch fire and it will also help to get your fire going in another way. Another one that helps it catch fire really easy, something like hand sanitizer. Most hand sanitizers have quite high alcohol content, so they're quite flammable, so this can also help you start your fire very quickly. Okay, obviously with these accelerants it needs to be something small that you can fit in the bag and also something fairly safe for you to carry around, so nothing like an aerosol or any kind of deodorant products or anything like that. Okay, just make sure it's nice and safe, which is why I tend to prefer the Vaseline one, because it's perfectly harmless and it's really small and portable, so that's why I tend to go for that one. Really useful bit of kit when you're lighting a fire. It also works if you've run out of your tinder here. If you've run out of cotton wool or you've burnt your tea light, you can smear this on some other sort of tinder that you've found naturally, and it will help it to ignite and help get your fire going. Okay, so those are the first three elements: a container of some sort, some tinder, so fluff from your tumble dryer, cotton wool, tea light, anything like that, and some sort of accelerant to help it along, help it catch fire and help it to burn nicely. The other element is something to actually start the spark, something to actually start the fire. There's lots of different things you can use. You can use something as simple as normal matches. Okay, normal matches are very reliable provided you keep it dry, but they are a little bit prone to things like the wind, and you only get a very short amount of time to put that match to your tinder and get your fire going with it. Okay, but luckily obviously matches come in boxes of hundreds generally, and so you have generally got access to quite a few of them, but like I said, they need to be kept dry and out of the wind. So Matches are generally quite good, but they're not perfect. So matches are one option that you can go with. The other option is another type of matches, which are waterproof matches, or lifeboat matches they're sometimes called. They tend to be sold in these waterproof containers, and they look, for all intents and purposes, like a really thick match. When you light these, it burns all the way along there, so it burns for longer than a normal match, and it's very hard to extinguish with the wind, so it's much more windproof. Okay, they're also waterproof, so if they got wet, they'd still be able to light once you sort of cleared off the water. So these sort of waterproof matches are really good. Generally, the box that they come in has its own striker on, so you can light the match from that. So these are really good as an alternative. They're just they're probably one of the few things you wouldn't have in your house, so you generally have to go out and buy these, or you can order them online. But they're very good alternative to normal matches in terms of they're a little bit more reliable. Okay, so some waterproof matches, or lifeboat matches they're sometimes called, are another good way of getting your fire going. You can also, of course, use something like a lighter. Okay, normal lighters obviously are built for creating fires, but out of all the methods of creating your sparks, creating your fire, they're probably the least reliable. As soon as they run out of fuel, they're generally quite useless. Some of these Zippo ones will still create a spark, but it's hard to get anything ignited from the spark from here once it's run out of fuel. Okay, so lighters can be used, but generally matches or waterproof matches are more reliable. So you can use a lighter, but don't just have a lighter. Always have some sort of backup if you're going with a lighter. The most reliable way of doing it is with a flint and steel. Okay, again, this is probably not something you'll have at home unless you've already got one, but they're not very expensive, but they are extremely reliable. They will work in any weather and any wind, and they'll create incredibly hot sparks when you rub the bits together. So when you use the steel here against the flint, it will create an extremely hot spark, which will have no trouble igniting the Vaseline or the cotton wool or any of the other elements. So these are really, really good. I always carry one with me with my fire kit because it's easily the most reliable way of getting your fire going. So these are definitely worth buying. If you don't have to buy an expensive one, you can buy them for a couple of pounds either off eBay or when the shops reopen somewhere like Black's or somewhere like that. But they are really, really good, very reliable way of doing it. They do though take a little bit of practice to get good with. You need to be able to practice using them to light your cotton wool and light your accelerants, but once you've mastered it, you'll generally find them much better than matches or cigarette lighters. So using a flint and steel, if you can master it, is the most reliable way to get your fire going. So we'll just recap. You need those 4 elements. You need a container of some sort to hold your fire lighting kit. You need a tinder element, something that will burn easily. Okay, an accelerant of some sort to help it along, to help it burn nice and hot, to catch the spark easily and to dry out any sticks that might need doing. And then finally you need some sort of source of ignition, some sort of flame. So matches, lighter or flint and steel, any of those sorts of things are absolutely fine. So just like the first aid kit, your job this week is to have a go at putting together your own kit that you might need, that you will need when we are lighting our fires at Scouts. Okay, things like the tinder will get used quite quickly, so obviously you always need to make sure you've got plenty of that, and that once you've used it at Scouts one night that you replenish it. So I look forward to seeing what you guys put in your own fire kits this week, and I will see you all on Thursday. Good luck.